welcome back to Purse First Impressions. It is another week of talking about RuPaul's Drag Race, and I am joined by a true lip sync icon, honey, Miss DiDa Ritz. DiDa, how are you?
Hey, Bob, how are you? From one icon to the other.
And I want to just go ahead and jump in and talk about the lack of the elephant in the room at this point, I guess. So we start the episode, and all of a sudden, Jasmine Kennedy's in a very good mood, and she's like, "Ooh, it's gonna be a what did she say? A hullabaloo or something she said." And I noticed she's in a
honky tonk.
Yeah, hunky dory or something
like that. Yeah,
it was something very white. She was in a very good mood, and I was like, I feel like she's in a good mood because Cornbread's not here. Like the episode before, her and Cornbread were going at it. All of a sudden, right?
She ain't getting teased no more, so she ain't gonna be getting teased and told to shut up no more.
Right? So I was like, wow, Jasmine's in a good mood because Cornbread's not here. So we found out that Cornbread has RuPaul's Drag Race has more injuries than the fucking NFL. This is wild.
Can we talk about it real quickly? There is something about ankles, knees, and butterflies when it comes to RuPaul's Drag Race. Like, I don't know what it is, but I say the same thing. It is always a bitch busting her ankle or her knee or killing a butterfly or wearing a butterfly. It's just something about that. It's something about injuries where I say the same thing. I said it last night, actually, at the viewing party. But I feel like Cornbread's going to get asked back to next season. Like, her personality is so magical and magnetic. I feel like they would ask her back, like, hopefully.
Yeah. And I hope so. And RuPaul has a history of inviting injured girls back or injured contestants back. RuPaul has a very long history of if you get hurt, you get a chance to come back, which is very, very kind, very loving. Now, let's talk about this little mini challenge. So they're assigned to teams, and you have to put a balloon over the ass of a pit crew member. And then you hump it. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was hot. I was like, this is hot. I was like, oh my God.
It was. Oh my God, it was. Just because looking at both of those pit crew guys are so fucking hot. I don't know if I can cuss on here, sorry.
You can fucking cuss on this bitch.
Okay, cool. I was like, oh my God, they were so hot. Just seeing them all bent over, ready for have their balloons popped. It was like, oh my God, it's so hot. On the other hand, I felt like one of them white women clutching my pearls. I was like, oh my God, children watch this show, but they got to learn about gay sex somehow, right? I guess, right?
To be honest, I feel like a mini challenge has never been this graphic. I think that once they found out that Maddie was straight, they said, turn the competition up to 100. They said, and next week it's a fucking rimming challenge. Next week you have to rim one of the pit crew members.
I think the one that had me dying though was Miss George's. George's trying to pop that sounded like the That was amazing.
Girl.
That was amazing. That was great.
Also, Georges literally could not pop the balloon until she did it with her ass. That is a true bottom. Georges was like, the only way I could do it is if I turn around and use my ass.
Literally put your ass into it, because I was like, oh God, baby. I guess, you never want to like bottom shame, top shame anyone, but you were like, oh baby. I know.
I don't think it's shaming, but it is definitely acknowledging that I think that Georges had to look at it from a bottom perspective to be able to enjoy it. So we go into the challenge of the week, which they are doing PSAs. They're doing Sarah McLachlan style PSAs for first eliminated queens. First of all, I was so sad that they did not bring back Pork Chop, but I understand that Pork Chop has been highlighted several times as one of the first out. And who knows, she was probably busy. Because I know for a fact that sometimes World of Wonder will call you a week beforehand and be like, what you doing? Like, I'm like, bitch, I can't do it. So who knows what Pork Chop was doing, or if they even asked her. I have no clue. But they were able to bring back James Mansfield, Tempest du Jour, and Kamora Hall from Chicago.
Yes, my sister, my drag. She's like, we're actually in the same drag family.
Also, another thing is, I'm really shocked that they were like, if they're gonna mention first out queens, I would have been looking over it, and they were like, what it's like to be a first out queen. I would have looked at Dia Betty and Orion Story and said, yeah, so what's it like? So they go into the infamous green screen where the girl where a lot of us have recorded several of many Drag Race commercials and stuff. And I've noticed that this season the challenges are a little bit funnier than they've been in the past. And you know why I think it is? I think this is no shade to whoever is over there writing those things. It's because the girls are writing the jokes themselves. Remember last episode, that super teaser, the girls wrote that.
I agree with you. I love when they leave it up to the queens, the contestants,
exactly, to
actually create and write their own stuff. Because then you're able to, I would think as a contestant, you're able to have more power than having to stick to a script.
I agree.
Now,
I think this is, but again, I'm very competitive. So let's get into some of these looks. So I want to talk about if you open up the document we have, I want to talk about the judges' looks. First of all, whenever they do these pictures of the judges side by side, it seems like it's a composite image. Like, I don't know if the judges were all actually standing on stage together because their shadows are all in different spots. But is that, I know I have stood next to RuPaul. RuPaul is taller than I am. I'm 6'2". RuPaul is probably 6'4", 6'3" or 6'4". Is Ross Matthews the same height as Michelle Visage?
I feel like Ross Matthews is shorter than RuPaul, so possibly. Like I've worked a few times with Ross Matthews, and he's definitely shorter than RuPaul. I feel like I'm taller than him, so but I could see him being that. But Michelle is also really short.
Right? But anyway, I actually like this dress. I mean, this is definitely a silhouette that we have seen on RuPaul a lot of times. But honestly, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think she looks good. I think actually all four of the judges look really good. This is a great week. I like when RuPaul does this warmer blonde than like last week. She was like almost a white blonde. I prefer when RuPaul does the warmer blonde hair personally.
I agree with you. This, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I so appreciate the silhouette. And actually, I love a sheer moment. I love anytime anything is sheer. And I thought it was like quintessential RuPaul. I love how she even walked. And I love the hair. The hair actually gives me like an ode to like 90s Ru. Like, it's very classic RuPaul. Yeah. Like when I was young, watching RuPaul on TV, at the award shows or on, making cameos on. It's very a classic ode to Ru. I know, which I love when he does that.
Let's go into George's.
The entire
There's
time
something about George's that reminds me of Kamora Hall. Does anyone else see it? Anyone else see this?
I could just see that, especially this week with the paint. I thought the beat was really like, this is the most painted I've seen her thus far on the season. I mean, George's is beautiful. The aesthetic is so clean and like polished in her way. So, I mean, it's always going to be on point, but I thought that I could see that, like the hair and the makeup this week, definitely, she was yanked. I mean, she was just painted, baby.
Yeah, she looks really good. And I think that,
her nose contour is amazing too.
Yeah. I mean, she looks really good, but unfortunately, I do not think that this look would have even been strong enough. I do think she was the worst one in the challenge, I gotta say. And Georgia seems to have a fear of speaking whenever it comes to like talking. And she said out loud that she wants to just dance and do her thing. She doesn't want to have to speak. But baby, that's probably one of the biggest parts of Drag Race is like performance, So let's move on to Carrie Colby. Carrie Colby, the category of spring has sprung. And I can't say I love this look. I think the length of the gown I don't like, and the complete mixture of fabrics. I get that her body, like her waist down, is supposed to be the stem, and her bodice and shoulders and headpiece are supposed to be the flower, but it's giving Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, but not in a great way for me personally.
So I thought that this was interesting that she thought this was ugly. She thought like this was like, in her opinion, was like being like ugly, when I think that this is actually like a beautiful garment. I admit I wanted more. Like the dress could have been longer. There could have been just way more flowers. The gloves could have been like all the way up to her armpit. Like those little small details really just help change the garment. The makeup is gorgeous. I think she's always going to have a painted mug. Carrie always has a great painted mug. But I agree, it could have just been more. You know what I mean? Like, you have so much room on that runway. Just more. She
seems to be struggling a lot with, I think that her idea of like kooky, ugly out of the box is just not doing standard beauty. But I think that she's experiencing like there's a lot of beauty outside of conventional makeup and stuff. So whenever she's like, I'm looking ugly today, and everyone's like, are you? Like, is this
like,
ugly?
well, wait a minute. Who said that? Who made that comment when they said, if you think this is ugly,
Tempest.
then there's no hope for any of us?
Let's go on to Angeria, Paris, Michaels, Dupree, Balenciaga, Manuel of the House Down Boots. I really think that this, like, honestly, I feel like, okay, her brassiere, the bra part of this, the bodice part, especially the bra part, is a little bit ill-fitting, but it seems like a stretch. This is a great garment. But I also feel like I agree with what Ross Matthew is saying, is that, like, we expect so much out of her that even a little misstep, like, ooh, the boobs look a little weird, throws us off, because we always expect her to look so flawless. But even that being said, she looks so fucking good. Like, I feel like at this point, I honestly feel like Angeria would have to snap a fucking ankle to lose this competition. Like, she was very funny in the challenge. Very funny.
Okay, so it's so funny now you said, because I've loved her since her entrance. Her Meet the Queens was her Meet the Queens, I guess, I don't know. It wasn't as, her Meet the Queens was great. But I felt like I really got to know who she was, obviously, watching the show so far. Her entrance was one of my favorites. I just love her Southern. I love the way she speaks. I like this, so Southern and just so, like, tea time in the backyard above the sunshine, dewy. Like, it just, she gives me that. I want her, actually, she's like my new front runner, kind of. I want her to win. I loved this. I know Ross Matthews said, like, the fit was a little off. And I guess you have to, like, really look closely to notice that. But I agree with him also, like, you have set such a precedent for yourself. Like, now you set that bar. So now you have to come out showing out, because you said it. Like, you know, she's a pageant girl, and it shows. Like, it shows in every bit of, like, she's oozing it in this moment. I loved it.
Let's move on to Deja Sky. So Deja Sky is the pastel princess. She will not stop reminding us she's the pastel princess. I feel like what I am not loving is the pant. I don't know if this is a neoprene pant or what it is, but if that had been like a skirt or a mermaid gown on the bottom, I would have liked it more. Or some sort of a maxi mermaid skirt, I would have liked it more. Or maybe if the fabric from the top would have continued all the way down, I would have liked it more. But from the waist up, I love this, but I do not like these pants.
Okay, so I'm with you on the pants. I feel like, you know, I'm a pants girl. I love to wear pants and drag. I mostly enjoyed from the waist up. The pant, you know, it's hard to do pants in drag, and especially this type of pant. I think I might have loved it more if it would have went all the way to the ground, to the point where you can't even see her shoes.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that, I agree. The fabric is everything. You know what I mean? Even if you got to spend a little extra more dollars on some really nice tailored, like, dress, you know, pant fabric or whatever, like suit fabric or whatever. Like, the fabric is everything and how it moves.
So let's move on to Madeline Morphosis. Now, I want to say out loud that I get a little triggered, not literally triggered, but when I see a storm cloud, I think about Sherry Pie. When I see a storm cloud on the right, I think about Sherry Pie as a storm cloud, because Sherry Pie did a storm cloud on, like, the first episode, and I remember my first thought was like, not this bitch, not her. But that being said, there were two storm cloud looks.
I would be so triggered too,
girl. I was like,
oh my god,
I don't know.
My goodness,
okay. But that being said, honestly, this is a great look. Like, this looks real. I wish that this is something I saw on TikTok. You take LED lights and you put them in some cotton balls, and then you light them up, and it looks like lightning. Imagine that inside the cotton ball. Girl, that would be crazy. But this looks so cool. I really like it. I actually like this look more than Bosco's storm cloud look, to be quite frank.
So, yes, most definitely. I definitely like this one more than Bosco's. I think just visually, like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this hands down is Maddie's best runway thus far. I love this.
Let's move on to Jasmine Kennedy, who has been called a younger looking Alyssa Edwards, which was so shady. But I was living for it. And I actually like this look. I actually like this look minus the boots. I don't like that material on the boot. And she said, I made this. I'm wondering if she meant she stoned it, or did she make this corset? Because that is a very important distinction. distinction? And I want to know what the answer is, quite frankly.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, most definitely. Like making something is from scratch, literally from fabric to like forming like clothing, literally. So that's that. I'm glad you brought that up because that I think there is a difference between like where girls will buy corsets and then they like upholster the corset and then stone it. And it's like, no, when you upholstered and you stone the corset, you didn't make the corset. I do love this. The boot, I kind of wish that the boot, I'm with you. I love the boot, once again, just separately. I kind of wish the boot was the same situation as the corset. You know how when girls do that whole like corset thigh high matchy type of vibe. I just wish that it would have like done that because it just would have like been like the chef's kiss as they like to say. And I do agree. She looks like Alyssa Edwards. I thought that immediately when she walked out. I don't know if it's the hair, the paint, or like I'm like, but it's the silhouette. I don't. But she gave me Alyssa Edwards definitely in this.
I want to move on to Orion story, and I just don't. There's something about, it feels like Orion's not wearing enough eye makeup. And I know I want to talk. I've been critiqued about my makeup, blah, 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 yeah, whatever. Something about it just seems like there isn't enough. And there's little details like the fact that the ears were so floppy they could fall off. Like, girl, this is Drag Race. If you need to, like, put the ears under the wig, poke a hole through the wig, make sure your ears don't come off. Like, at the top of her lip sync, the first thing that happened was her ears fell off. That was the first thing that happened.
It's like what's her face? Sugarcane say, staple that shit, girl. I don't hate this look. I feel like it's just once again more. It just could have been more. She could have had a long overcoat, over it, or like even just walking out. You didn't have to wear. You could just dragging it. The shoe. I don't really like that shoe with this. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I need a higher heel if you're giving this type of flair. Like sex appeal, like I want a high heel. I want that foot to be like arched, like painfully, like Violet Chachki arch. You know what I mean? Like, like
give me pain.
High. And it wasn't really giving me that. And also, I think I don't know. We're still learning a lot about their personality. I recently met them like maybe a few weeks ago, and I will say is what you see on TV is what you see in person. They seem very shy and quiet.
I want to bring up a queen who I would like. Since to Meet the Queens, I've thought to myself, wow, Willow Pill is great. I love her even more now that the season has started. It was really great when she shared her story about chronic illness. She's being really open, and I bet a lot of people feel seen by that. Her looks are always like something that looks like it'd be really simple with some twisted shit added in. Like it's like a housewife dress, which a lot of drag queens do. I've been guilty of this. I still do this day, but with this like house on, like an actual house on her head with help in the back. Like she's smart. If she is not in the top 2, I will be completely shocked. She might win the season. I'm saying right now, it is either going to be Angeria or Willow Pill. I am saying that emphatically. I believe that with every fiber of my being.
This look on the runway, this situation right here, I'm looking at it right now, and I'm looking at like the dress on her, the house on her dress, like I didn't even see that on TV watching it. Like this was so good. I remember this came around the corner, and I host a viewing party along with another fabulous queen by the name of Gina Bell, and her and I have difference in opinions about drag and difference in create, like sometimes if it's drag or if it's creative or it's crazy or if it makes sense. And this turned the corner, and she was like, "I can't get behind that girl," and I was like, "I can." I was like, "I'm not mad about it," and people in the audience were like, "I'm not mad either." I love like crazy, weird, odd drag that sometimes maybe doesn't make sense or you just need to see it. And then the minute she turns around and you see help, like it all makes sense. I thought this was so good.
Yeah. So let's go on to DiDa Betty. I gotta be honest, and the fans have called out in the comments before, but I think I might have a slight vendetta against DiDa Betty and Orion Story because they got eliminated in their back. And like when queens come back, I'm always like, what are you doing? That being said, I think that DiDa Betty did a pretty good job this week, and I like this look. I think DiDa Betty has actually had some pretty cool looks on the runway. I like this look. I love her in this little pixie cut. She wearing the RuPaul heel. That by the way, y'all look at this. This is the heel that RuPaul wears almost every time she's in drag.
That is.
I'm sure it's comfortable
that really
as hell.
Is a shoe.
But yeah, she looks good.
I love
What?
I love the color orange. I love the
Okay.
color orange. I do love this look. I do love this look. I maybe wanted like more, and maybe I'm just a greedy little like drag queen sometimes. I just want more and more and more. But I did love like this thing, and once again, it's the connection to butterflies. There's something about butterflies in
Mhm.
Drag Race. They just love to fly around.
Lady Camden, I think this is the first time. Okay, when I think back to the Super Tease challenge, she was actually pretty funny. She made some great choices. I think she did the same thing again this time, and this look is cool. It was like really cute, but then when she tipped her head and the tea fell out of the cup, I was like, this is great. This is great. She looks great, and this is the earrings are tea bags. This is so campy. This is, in my mind, this is Priscilla done right, in my opinion. What do you think?
As soon as she bent over and I saw the tea come out, immediately I was like, okay, I love this look. Like, I just love when like I can see like that little thing you can do that makes me just go from I've seen it before to I love this. Because I agree, it's like camp at its highest. And then immediately when she tipped over the tea, I was like, then I noticed it. I was like, oh, the earrings. Oh, like, the dress, the like everything. I agree. This is so high. It's so high fashion. It's like, it gives me almost like a little Jeremy Scott Moschino vibe.
Yeah.
Kind of like I could see this on the runway too. I could see this on the runway
what I will say?
on one of those shows.
This could have been at the Met Gala for notes on camp. So moving on to Bosco. Okay, so here's the thing. Both these looks are like, the second look is fine. And the only reason why we are giving it that bit of thing, because we realize it's a reveal. So when there's a reveal, we do give you a little bit of leeway, in my opinion, on what the garment looks like. So the second look is fine. But the fact that there was already a storm cloud on the episode, I think that Maddie's storm cloud was just so opulent and it looked so good that this just looks like a gray loofah, in my opinion.
Okay, so I agree completely with what you just said. To me, it gives me, and I feel like this is such a read when you say this about Drag Race, like when I say this about Drag Race Runway versus like club performance, but it gives me like a club performance look instead of like runway main stage drag, like elevation. Like it just gives me very much like this would be great in a bar, like when you're touring and you're like going around and like this is going to be great on stage to see. But I feel like it's the runway, you got a lot of room. If this was like 20 times bigger and then even she spun out to a gorgeous big gigantic like yellow sunshine tulle gown, then maybe okay, I would have been like, because the makeup and the hair is fierce. It's just the garment is it looks just very like it looks like a performance for a bar. It's like you can wear, like this is going to be amazing when you're traveling around in the gigs and you're wearing this week at wherever you're at, But for the runway,
And let's do a quick review of our first out queens. Tempest is giving, I don't know what she's giving, but I'm living for it. I'm living. Let me try it now. In my opinion,
I actually know the reference of this. I actually know the reference of what Tempest du Jour I think is giving. I think she was giving Sunset Boulevard, like the movie. I think she like.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm gonna get my dick. I think that's what she was giving because like there's a whole close up Mr. DeVille and the way she walked out and was feeling it. And if I've never seen that movie all the way through, but I've seen certain scenes on YouTube and it gives me I think Norma Desmond is the character's name.
Yeah,
it's very
you're right.
Like it's very that.
I think James Mansfield is such a fucking good drag queen. James Mansfield is funny. James Mansfield is talented. She is pretty. She can do hair. She's good at makeup. She does body. Her body is always on point. James Mansfield's body is always on point. She's always cinched, always padded. The titty bib is perfect. Her hair always looks good. James Mansfield is a fucking good drag queen. And she was good in the Christmas movie, which I did watch.
I did not see the Christmas movie, but I trust her acting chops because I love her character and I love how she does a character in drag compared to not in drag. And I agree with you. Like James is just such a great drag queen. Like just aesthetically knows their aesthetic. They know how they like to look. And I agree. The body's like very sexy to me. It's very curvy.
Yes.
It's like, I think Michelle said best, like saddlebag and hips. It's like very sexy to me.
And fuck Kamora Hall for coming out looking this stunning. Also, fuck Kamora Hall for being able to fit into a Bob Mackie dress off the rack. I am 6'2". I am 230 pounds. I cannot fit into anything sample size or off a rack ever in my life unless it is like from Torrid or something. But honestly, she looks so good. Kamora Hall is a fucking stunning drag queen. Like she, honestly, this is the best look of the week. And I'm including everybody, the judges, the competitors. This look is fucking crazy. She looks so good.
So I love seafoam green. I guess that's what you would call this color. I love a gown situation. I love like a whole like just rich bitch kind of vibe. But I think my most favorite thing on this entire look is that curl in the front of Kamora's head.
Yes.
I just think that I love a girl who does a good old, that's like very 90s nostalgia, but I love somebody who just does that because I feel like when you do that, you know, like when you see that on the queen, you're like, oh, you know what's up. You know what's up. No, I agree. This was probably the best look of the week. And Kamora represented Chicago. She represented the House of Hall very well. If our drag mother was still here living with us, she would literally be so proud of Kamora.
I'm going to go ahead and quickly hop into the lip sync. And I'm not even going to spend a lot of time on this. Let me say right now, Georges, you didn't have to do Orion like that. You didn't have to do her that dirty. She did her. This was, I am not going to mince my words. This, and I don't, and argue with your mama, because in the comments, if you disagree, I don't want to hear it. This was a massacre. This was a brutalization. This was a triple homicide, but all three homicides were on the same person. The way Georges, I'm sorry, Orion, and I'm sorry that your story ended up sad, but bitch, the way Georges ate Orion's ass on this fucking lip sync. Orion's headband was falling off, her wig was sliding back, and Georges didn't even look at her. That's how you know Georges was like, I'm not worried. Georges was doing a performance by herself on stage, and Orion just happened to be in the vicinity. She scrubbed. At the moment I saw who was in the bottom, I was like, well, sorry, goodbye, Orion. And then when she fucking took that outfit off, I was like, it's a wrap. Everyone, thank you, Orion. Thank you so much. Orion, pack it up. Pack it up, Orion.
Girl. Okay, so for me, it was, so first of all, I agree with everything you just said, because for me, it was like, I literally thought that, and while I was watching the lip sync, I was like, this is straight carnage. Like, literally, from the minute the ears came off, I knew that there was not a chance for Orion. I was like, baby, you could just see on her body, she was already physically like, damn, my ears just fell off. And everybody knows that, like, when that happens, that's already kind of a point knocked off for your lip sync, just keeping it real. And then I agree, Georges was just literally dancing circles, like literally just dancing full circles. And then when the costume change happened, I was like, okay, this bitch, like we already know who's staying. We already know who's staying. There's no questions asked about who's going to do. And I agree with you, Georges, you didn't have to do your sister like that. Now you could have at least looked over and acknowledged it one time, but Georges was literally Georges, because you know this, when you're at Drag Race, you don't really get to perform. You're doing all these challenges that are acting and making stuff, and you just want to perform, at least like to get out any like anger you have. And I was like, Georges needed that. Georges needed to perform, because she said it herself. She's a performer. So she's like, she just needed to perform and get that out. And maybe that's what like will help release her to do well next week in next week's challenge. But yeah, straight carnage.
DiDa Ritz, can you please tell us where you said you host a viewing party? Can you please tell us where they can find you if people want to watch Drag Race with you? Where can they find you?
So if you want to watch Drag Race with me, if you're in Chicago, catch me Fridays at Hydrate Nightclub. The doors open at 6:30 and we start the viewing at 7 o'clock. We give away all types of fun prizes. It's along with me and Gina Bell. We just do the most random things. And it's fun because, you know, obviously being a part of Drag Race, there's always things I want to say, but if I say them, I get in trouble. But Gina is not a Drag Race girl, so it's kind of fun because she can say stuff and then I can be like, I agree. And then also make sure you guys check out my also make sure you guys check out my YouTube channel, or this is my YouTube web show that I have with IMHO, Details the Slice. We just like to talk about pop culture stuff. I sometimes talk about Drag Race on there, but it's on the IMHO channel along with Darby, Lynn Cartwright, Alexis Bevels, and Auntie Chan.
Awesome. Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me. That is DiDa Ritz, right out of Chicago. Thank you for taking the time. Listen, if you all want to join the conversation, please go online, use the hashtag Purse First Impressions. It's on the screen right now. Hashtag Purse First Impressions. I love to join the conversation. We always have a lot of great, exciting guests coming up. Who knows? Maybe we'll have some returners, some fan favorites returning pretty soon, and some people you haven't had a chance to hear here on Purse First Impressions. And with that in mind, we will see you all next week. Bye, everyone.